Yeah, I want to be sitting inside the car for this video. It feels so weird doing that from from the right side. I don't even know how someone could drive a right hand, drive like a right-sided car. Like, how could you drive with the steering wheel on the right side? How do people in the UK or like Japan do this? So I thought a lot about making this video since I went to a car show the other day. Got to see a whole bunch of fun things, nice Lexus sedans and 2JZs inside of them. I even got to drive inside of a drift car. Not drive inside, I mean ride inside of a drift car. A cool RX-8, probably like the most fast feeling move in my life. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like when you see any of these like drift cars doing videos and stuff, it looks a lot faster. Like it feels a lot faster. Oh my god, I'm messing up again. What I'm gonna be trying to do today, I'm gonna try to convince you that you should drive a stick shift. The echo inside this garage is really bad. So obviously, as you can see, I don't really like have a crazy car or anything like that. This is just a regular Subaru Impreza hatch, a family car. But it feels fun to drive because it's a stick shift. It's not boring. I get a lot out of it. It's really fulfilling to drive and actually enjoy it, you know? So that's the garage light that just turned off. So anyway, yeah, I want to be trying to convince you that you should drive a stick shift as well, especially if you're in the United States. Now, if you're in Europe or something like that, of course, manual cars are more popular. They're the dominant form of transportation, I've heard. So this may not apply so much to people in other countries as it does to people in America and Canada. Oh man, I wish this door opened up like a full like 90 degrees, you know? It'd be impractical, but I mean like it'd be convenient for right now. The first reason why you should drive a stick shift is that you get more control over your car. You get to control the torque. You have the full authority over what your car does, and that's really helpful. I mean, not only is it just like a good thing to have, but also maybe you want to downshift in any sort of situation where it's probably safer to do so. So let's say you're in wet conditions, you're on the road, you're driving down the highway, and you're trying, not to get into a car accident. So what can you do to avoid that? Well, if you're in those wet conditions and you need to turn, maybe, shift lanes a lot, might be a lot of traffic outside. You might live in a major city. Then you can just downshift, which makes your car have lower RPMs and overall reduces your wheel spin. This is especially helpful if you have a rear-wheel drive car. Just another reason why all sports cars should be manuals. Or maybe you want to downshift to make your car just slower and safer to maneuver when you're inside any sort of heavy traffic. If you're inside of the city or something like that, or you're just on the highway driving back home. Because of course, if you're driving something that's going to accelerate fast, who knows if somebody is just going to jump right in front of you inside your lane and basically screw you over and cause an accident. So number two, having a stick shift is a lot safer, honestly. It's a lot harder to get distracted when you're trying to shift. You're worried about how much are you holding your foot down in the clutch. Because when you're driving a manual, pretty much what it is that you're just balancing clutch and gas. Of course, shifting is part of it, but shifting is really just one moment. Really, you're gonna be more so focused on how much am I holding down the clutch versus the gas. So I make sure I'm not burning the clutch, but I'm also not just, holding down the gas and going full throttle. It takes a lot of concentration. And so as a result, you can't just pick up your phone and scroll when you're so worried about shifting that, you don't want to burn your clutch. You don't want to just burn gas. You don't want to blow up your engine or something like that, which by the way is very difficult to do in a stick shift car. Your car will literally be screaming if you ever get near something like that. That's why you're never going to see it happening aside from a drag strip or something like that. Me personally, I found that I have a pretty strange habit. When I go Chipotle, I love Chipotle by the way. So I will get my chips and all that, my burrito bowl and everything, and I'll sit right over here on the passenger side, and I will reach over, all the way over from the driver's side to come get me some chips. It's something that I do out of light, okay? Now, I'm not saying that I have had the thought float my mind to do this. It hasn't. But What is prevented completely is that I can't get distracted and just reach my hand all the way over here or all the way over to my phone so I can go text somebody while I'm driving. That's just not possible. I have to be focused on one, shifting, two, how much am I holding my foot down in the clutch versus the gas, and of course, three, everything else that's around me. There's just not enough time that's afforded to you when you're driving a manual to focus on all these distractions. Now, I will say that this makes manual cars great for, let's say, a parent who's worried about their kid getting their first car and them being distracted by text messages or overstimulating TikTok videos on their phone. Or somebody who just wants to avoid any distraction at all, someone who's typically prone to distractions. Of course, all of us are, but it's a habit that a lot of us can get. And having a stick shift can really help you break out of that habit if you have it at all. Because you don't have the opportunity to do that in the first place. I feel a lot more tempted to maybe just pick up my phone and just reply just yes to a text message. Not knowing that even just a slight mistake in your driving can mess you up completely. I mean, heck, we all feel those urges sometimes. But first of all, don't give into it at all. And second of all, having a stick shift car prevents that completely. Number 3, they are cheaper somewhat. Manuals aren't cheaper to buy because production of them has mostly ceased over the years, but they are cheaper to own. Especially here in the United States, manuals have been mostly phased out over the years, and you just don't have many of them anymore. So when you do find a manual car, typically, especially if it's a sports car, if it's something like, like just an eco box like this, not really. Most of the market for that is going to be focused on, the automatics, because most of the manual market is probably more so geared towards sports cars. But for the most part, manual cars just fetch a premium because there's not many of them here. This isn't the same thing for other countries where manuals may be more prevalent, but here in the United States and Canada, that's just how it is. That being said, it's not going to be a huge premium, but you could be expecting slightly higher prices. With that being said, they are much cheaper to own. An automatic transmission does the shifting for you. It makes driving easy for the most part. It's a really great technology, and it allows driving to be so much easier to learn because you don't have to worry about trying to learn a manual. If I was first learning how to drive and my first car was a manual, both the combination of learning the rules, the typical things that we see on the road, and trying to balance that with learning how to do this, I would go insane. Now, at the same time, an automatic transmission is more complex. It's not offsetting the duty of shifting and managing the clutch to the driver like a manual car does. It does all that for you. That comes with a cost and complexity. There's more parts to an automatic transmission. As a result, this causes automatic cars to require more maintenance to stop them from breaking. And they are also easier to break in the first place. And if they do break, it's going to be very expensive. Manual transmissions are simpler. They have fewer parts, and they require you to do the work while driving. So, as a result of this extra simplicity, they break less, and if they do break, it's a lot cheaper. Less maintenance is required overall. Now, that's not to say that automatics are unreliable. You just have to make sure that you pick a good car that won't have a bad transmission. That's one of the first things they should always look for in the first place, regardless of whether you're doing automatic or manual. But manuals are much more easier to work with in the transmission department. Yet another win for manual drivers. I just swiped out the app for my notes on my iPad. Dude, manuals have higher gas efficiency. I'm sorry, I have to fact check this one because I kind of forgot. Dude, no, this is what is this talking about? No. Pros and cons of high efficiency furnaces. No. Okay. Wrong link. And is this thing talking about CVTs to me? No. Nuh-uh. Oh, nah, bro. No. Come on. Why are we talking about CVTs? No, wrong. Okay, no. I need a different link. Okay, let me stop the CVT hate. CVTs have their place in the world. Okay, they have great fuel economy. It's just that. Actually, I think I'm gonna do more research into CVTs now that I'm reading this. This is a very interesting technology. I remember I saw some like contraption where somebody made like a CVT out of Lego parts. I have to find it again though. That might be worth looking into. Yeah. This video went completely off topic. Alright. And I feel it's also important to note that typically most like manuals are going to be older cars. If you're looking for a car that is slightly older, let's say like a 2000s car or something like that, or even older, buying a manual likely is going to get you better fuel economy, and you're just going to be paying less for gas overall, which makes the car even cheaper to own. Something to consider. But for newer cars, that isn't really the same thing, unfortunately. Well, I mean, fortunately for a lot of people, but unfortunately for manual stands, because automatic cars just have better programming and thingamajigs to make it so that they have better fuel economy now. So that's one advantage that manual cars have lost. This is why like AI overlords are just going to be like taking over society now. We're just going to lose our free will. ChatGPT is going to be the next US president. It's over. So this is so nihilistic. It's just yapping, And of course, the fourth and final thing is that driving a manual is just fun. It's really freaking fun. Now, let's clear the air real quick. I think that is something that nearly everybody can agree on. Driving is boring. It is boring. It is tedious, especially if you live in a major city or something like that, because then you have to deal with traffic, or you're constantly on the highway. It just gets really boring. But having a stick shift gets rid of all that monotony. Driving becomes fun again. Even if you live in the suburbs, even if you live in the city, especially if you live in like a rural area or something like that, where there's not going to be as much stopping and starting. But driving a manual in the city comes with its pros as well. Like even a slow manual car is going to be fun because it feels fast. Slow car fast is better than fast car slow. I found that saying somewhere on like Reddit, I think. And it's true. Like it feels like I'm in like a Fast and Furious movie or like Initial D when I'm inside of this car right here. And I'm on fourth gear. I'm shifting through. I'm going through the motions, alright? Alright? Fourth gear at 41 miles per hour. And that's again, my car's slow. Like I don't want to like act like it's a fast car. No, it's a slow car. But I own that. Okay, it's fun having a slow car because you don't have to go fast for it to feel fast, and that is much safer for everybody on the road, including yourself, including me. Okay. It engages you and it makes your cruise on the road or your drive to work or to school feel somewhat fun and engaging again. Now, a common thing to say is that manuals are really bad to drive in traffic. And to be honest, that is true. One of two things happen when you're in traffic with a manual. You either go into first or even into second, and then when you stop, you go back to neutral, or you go into first, and then you stop and you just hold down the clutch for a little bit, and then whenever you start moving again, you do the same motion to start driving again. It's hard to describe this with words. The second is a little more useful for when traffic is even more start and stoppy than usual. So, driving a manual in traffic can be tedious. Driving automatic is a lot more, not annoying. But my counter to that is that you get used to it eventually. It's not something that's just going to constantly bother you as you keep on learning how to drive a manual. Eventually, driving a manual just becomes more of a second nature thing to you. It's not going to be as if when you're driving it's like almost muscle memory. Over time, when you drive a manual, it basically becomes muscle memory. You don't even have to think about, oh, first I need to put the clutch down, then I need to shift into gear, then I need to slowly let off the clutch and push the gas in a little bit. No, none of that. It just becomes a second nature thing to you. And even in traffic, if you drive in traffic a lot with a manual, it might be a little bit annoying, to keep on fiddling around with the pedals, but you get used to it. And it's just something that becomes more of a minor grievance versus something that like ruins my day or anything like that. Honestly, I will take the mostly fun driving capabilities of a manual car over an automatic car, which, gets me from point A to B. I mean, for someone who just wants to get from point A to B, then just get a automatic, I would say. Yeah, I mean, automatic, the convenience just makes it better. Because let's be real, you're not going to be driving this much anyway. But if you really do enjoy driving, or you just want to make it less of a burden, then that's where a manual comes in. It's really not something that's super practical in our current world, with the amount of developments that we've seen in automotive technology lately. It's just something that makes driving a little bit more fun, brightens your day, makes things a little bit less whack. And then you go to the car shows and you see all these fun, crazy looking cars and stuff like that, if you're into that. And you think, wow, I know exactly how to drive these cars. I don't know. That's not really relevant. It's just that you feel more connected to the car. It's nice to have that connection to the car. So, all in all, what are our 4 points on why everybody should have manuals? No more automatics. Okay, I'm playing. But seriously, why people should buy manuals? Why you should buy them? Number one, you get more control of your car. You control the torque. You control what the car is doing. You can do whatever you want with the car, because at the end of the day, I take it out first. You're the one who's controlling how fast it goes. Number two, it's a bit safer, prevents you from having distractions because you're worried about driving your car and not about just having your foot on the pedal. And number three, it is somewhat cheaper. Not cheaper to buy, but it's cheaper to own. The upfront cost may or may not be more expensive, but to own, it's a lot less expensive because manuals are just simpler in their mechanical design versus an automatic transmission. And it's fun. It's fun. It is fun, okay? I am very passionate about that because this guy right here, has made some of my most fun afternoons wherever I'm driving, whether that's me driving to a restaurant or just me driving to the store. I'm actually feeling excited. I feel excited to go to the grocery store because I know I get to drive the car. I get to mess around, feel like I'm in a movie or something like that. I know that it may seem less appealing to someone who isn't so much into cars or anything like that, but even if you're not into cars and all that, I would suggest just giving it a try because of the financial benefits, because of the safety benefits, and just because of the fact that it makes driving not boring. It makes driving very fun. All in all, manual supremacy, alright? I need to stop doing that. Drive a manual, consider buying one. You can probably find one pretty cheap. Just go on Craigslist or something like that. Oh my gosh, I'm stuttering. Go on Craigslist or something like that. Heck, the other day I just found a Honda Fit for $1,300. And it was a stick shift, nice and clean. 163,000 miles, but it's a Honda, so let's be real, it's never going to break. Great deal. And it doesn't even matter what kind of car it is because it's going to be fun either way because it's a manual. Drive a stick shift, please. Please!